There is a peculiar mystery hidden in the timeline of human history. Imagine, if you will, a conversation taking place across the silence of centuries. From the forest hermitages of Vedic India to the misty peaks of ancient China, from the marble stoas of Greece to the caves of the early mystics. These masters were separated by oceans, by languages, and by epochs. They had no internet, no satellites, and no contact. And yet, if you listen closely to the Upanishads, the Tao Te Ching, the Buddhist sutras, and the Stoic journals, you realize they are all singing the exact same song. They mapped the cartography of the human spirit. They spoke of an inner citadel, a witness consciousness, a way that flows beneath the chaos of the mind. For thousands of years, this was called faith, but today we call it data. The ancient realization that the self is a construct. Neuroscience now points to the default mode network, the practice of one-pointedness. Psychology calls it flow. The liberation from suffering. We see it now in the neuroplasticity of the meditator's brain. What the sages saw through the eye of intuition, science is now confirming through the lens of the microscope. We are not discovering new truths, we are simply remembering ancient ones. Welcome to the convergence. Today we unravel the code where the mystical meets the empirical. Let's wake up. Most of us live our lives trapped in the rapids. We are swept away by every current of anger, every ripple of anxiety, every wave of desire. We believe that the voice in our head, that ceaseless narrator, is who we are. But the ancient sages whispered a different truth. In the sacred texts of the Upanishads, they spoke of the Atman, the witness. They taught that you are not the thought. You are the space in which the thought occurs. You are not the sensation of pain. You are the awareness that perceives it. The Buddhists called this sati, mindfulness. It is the discipline of watching the mental weather without becoming the storm. The Stoics, miles away in the heart of Rome, practiced the art of the inner citadel, the ability to step back from an impulse and see it, clearly stripping it of its power to control you. They all pointed to the same profound duality. There is the noise, and there is the listener. For centuries, this was dismissed as mysticism. But today, cognitive science has finally caught up to the monk's cave. Psychologists now distinguish between the experiencing self, the part of you caught in the drama of the moment, and the observing self. This is meta-awareness. Think of it this way. Your thoughts are the movie playing on the screen. They are dramatic, tragic, sometimes terrifying. But you, the real you, are the screen itself. The screen is never burned by the fire in the movie. It is never wet by the ocean on the film. It remains pristine, white, and unaffected. When you align with the observer, you stop being a victim of your own mind. You reclaim your throne. You realize that while the weather of your life changes, the sky of your consciousness remains eternal. We are a species of time travelers. We spend our days haunting the ruins of the past, replaying regrets, dissecting old conversations. Or we project ourselves into the phantom cities of the future, anticipating disasters that haven't happened, chasing goals that don't yet exist. We are everywhere except here, and because we are never here, we never truly live. The Taoist sages warned us of this friction. They taught the art of Wu Wei, effortless action. It is the wisdom of water. It does not try to flow. It simply yields to gravity. Responding perfectly to the terrain of the moment, the Christian mystics took this even further. They spoke of the sacrament of the present moment. Think about that word, sacrament. It suggests that the simple act of washing a bowl, walking through a door, or listening to a friend is not a chore. It is a holy encounter. The divine is not found in the future you are chasing. It is hidden in the texture of the now. But what happens when we reject this sacrament? Modern research has given us a startling answer. A landmark Harvard study revealed that the human mind wanders about 47% of the time. But here is the critical finding. A wandering mind is an unhappy mind. Even when we daydream about pleasant things, we are less happy than when we are fully engaged in difficult tasks. Why? Because the separation from reality creates a subtle background dissonance. Anxiety lives in the future. Depression lives in the past. Peace only exists at zero distance from the present. When you collapse your timeline, when you stop running to the next moment and sink into this one, your brain chemistry shifts. Cortisol drops. Cognitive resources flood back. You enter flow. The neurological signals align with the spiritual promise. You become whole. The ancient masters and the modern neuroscientists agree on this fundamental law. Life is not a destination you are running toward. It is the ground under your feet. Stop waiting for the miracle. The miracle is that you are noticing this breath. Right now, we are the architects of sandcastles. We convince ourselves that if we just plan enough, worry enough, and grip the steering wheel of our lives tight enough, we can force the universe to obey our blueprint. We believe that worry is a form of control, but the ancients called this the great deception. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus opened his handbook with a ruthless distinction. Some things are up to us and some things are not. To confuse the two is the root of all suffering. In the Bhagavad Gita, the warrior Arjuna is taught a similar lesson. You have a right to your labor, but you have no claim over the fruits of your labor. Think of the archer. You control the aim, the tension, and the release. That is your dominion. But once the arrow leaves the bow, it belongs to the wind. It belongs to gravity. It belongs to the world. We suffer because we try to fly the arrow after we have released it. Science calls this complexity theory. We live in a non-linear universe. The butterfly effect teaches us that small, imperceptible changes can lead to massive, unpredictable outcomes. Psychologists have a term for our refusal to accept this: the illusion of control. It is a cognitive bias where we overestimate our influence over external events. We think if we worry about the flight, the plane is less likely to crash. But this isn't control, it's just high-functioning anxiety. Resistance creates friction. When you fight the current of reality, you drown. But when you accept that the river is stronger than you learn to swim. This is the paradox of power. You only gain control over your life when you stop trying to control the universe. Surrender is not weakness. It is the highest form of intelligence. It is the realization that you are not the general commanding the army of life. You are the dancer moving to its music. Let the arrow fly. Here is the most dangerous illusion of all: the belief that the voice in your head is you. It chatters from the moment you wake up. It judges, it predicts, it replays arguments that happened 10 years ago. Because it sounds like you assume it is you. But the ancients called this the great imposter. The Bhagavad Gita warns that the mind is a wonderful servant but a terrible master. It is a tool, like a hand or an eye. But we have forgotten that we are holding the tool. We have let the tool hold us. The Buddhists saw the self not as a solid statue, but as a river, a dynamic process of arising and passing. They taught that thoughts are just mental weather. The Stoics agreed. They trained themselves to look at a thought, "I am a failure," or "this is a disaster," and label it as a mere impression, a phantom. They knew that a thought is not a fact. It is just a suggestion from the mind. And now neuroscience pulls back the curtain on this phantom. We now know that the self is a construct, a narrative created by the brain's default mode network. Think about your heart. It beats automatically. You don't do the beating, it just happens. Your brain is an organ too. It secretes thoughts just like your mouth secretes saliva. Most of what you think isn't a deliberate choice. It is an automatic output based on old programming, survival instincts, and biological noise. When you say, "I am angry," you are claiming the anger is you. But when you say, "I notice anger arising," you are stepping into the truth. You are not the clouds passing through the sky. You are the sky itself. Clouds are heavy. They are dark. They storm and they thunder. But the sky? The sky is never wet. It is never burned. It creates the space for the storm, but it is never touched by the storm. The next time a negative thought spirals in your mind, don't fight it. Just watch it. Ask yourself, who is the one listening to this thought? In that silence, that is where you meet your true self. When the illusion of the separate self dissolves, something else must take its place. If you are not the isolated wave, what are you? You are the ocean. This is where the intellectual journey descends into the heart. In the ancient vision of Indra's net, the Buddhists described the universe as a vast web of jewels. Each jewel reflects all the others. To touch one is to touch them all. The Hindus greet this truth with Namaste. The divine in me recognizes the divine in you. And the Christian mystics spoke of agape, a love that is not an emotion, but the fundamental fabric of existence. They all agreed. Separation is the dream. Unity is the reality. For a long time, we thought this was just poetry, but now we look to the brain. Discoveries in neuroscience have revealed mirror neurons. When you see someone in pain, the same centers in your brain light up. Biologically, your brain struggles to tell the difference between me and you. We are hardwired for connection. We are physically built to feel the collective pulse. This is why modern positive psychology finds that the selfish are the most stressed, while the compassionate are the most resilient. When you close your heart, you cut yourself off from the power grid of the species. Your body floods with cortisol. You enter survival mode. But when you open into compassion, your nervous system regulates. your heart rate coherence synchronizes. You are not just being nice. You are moving into alignment with the design of the universe. Compassion, then, is not a rule you follow to be good. It is the natural consequence of waking up. When you realize that the other person is just you in a different disguise, how could you not love them? To harm another is to harm yourself. To heal another is to heal yourself. The walls between us are paper thin. It is time to burn them down. In a world that screams for your attention, silence is an act of rebellion. We are terrified of the quiet. We fill every gap with scrolling, with music, with chatter. We fear that if the noise stops, we cease to exist. But the ancients knew that noise is just the surface of the ocean. Truth lives in the depths. In the Yoga Sutras, the entire goal of existence is summed up in one Sanskrit phrase, Chitta Vritti Nirodha, the cessation of the fluctuations of the mind. The Sufi mystics taught that the tongue must go silent so the heart can speak. In Kabbalah, it is believed that the highest wisdom is not found in the words of the Torah, but in the white spaces between the letters. They taught that clarity only arrives when the waters of the mind are still. And once again, biology confirms the mystic's intuition. When you enter deep states of stillness, you aren't just relaxing. You are engaging in high-level neural restructuring. Neuroscience shows that intentional silence activates specific pathways in the default mode network, not the chaotic wandering we spoke of earlier, but a synchronized state of insight. This is neuroplasticity in action. Long-term meditators literally change the architecture of their brains. They possess thicker cortical walls in areas associated with attention and a shrunken amygdala, the fight or flight center. By practicing silence, you are physically building a brain that is resilient to chaos. You are upgrading your hardware to run a higher operating system of consciousness. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of power. It is the ability to stand in the center of the storm and remain untouched. If you want to hear the universe, you must first stop telling it what to say. We have walked the path from the ancient caves to the modern laboratory. We have seen that the mystic and the scientist are not enemies. They are two hands drawing the same map. But a map is useless if you do not walk the territory. Information without application is just entertainment. Transformation requires action. So, I am not asking you to just believe this. I am asking you to test it. I challenge you to the 7-day protocol. Days 1 and 2, the observer. Don't change your thoughts. Just watch them. Every time you feel stress, simply ask, who is the one noticing this? Days 3 and 4, the sacrament. Pick one mundane task, washing dishes, walking to the car, and do it with absolute total focus. Treat it as the most important moment of your life. Days 5 and 6, the mirror. Look at a stranger. Realize that biologically and spiritually they are an extension of you. Wish them peace in your mind. Watch how your own body relaxes. Day 7, the silence. Give yourself 20 minutes of zero output. No phone, no music, no talking, just you and the architecture of your own mind. By doing this, you are not just thinking new thoughts, you are physically rewiring your neural network. You are carving the path from the experiencing self to the awakened self. If this message resonated with you, if you felt that spark of recognition, then you are part of this convergence. Don't just watch this video and scroll away. Anchor this frequency. Subscribe to join the signal, if you haven't already, or share this with someone who needs to hear this. The data is in. The wisdom is ancient. The choice is yours. If you're watching this, you're already on a journey of awakening, healing, or self-mastery. This is your call to go deeper. You are part of this collective unfolding. Let's awaken together. Until next time, Universal Consciousness signing out.